You know where you're going, girl. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
As the sunshine is looking like it's trying to poke back out here in downtown Prague.
Yeah.
EcoRI had a really big article this week that people really have been, really interested in and kind of fixated on. So it was kind of a confluence of events. This is the kind of some naval war exercises planned for the East Coast. And, you know, we just had an incident here in Providence and around that I think folks are a little heightened about in urban areas. But you took a look at it from the environmental impact of the use of sonar and how this is going to impact the coast. They've done these before, but EcoRI took a look at it. You know, what are the things to look at from the environmental community in terms of concerns when something of this magnitude is undertaken?
Yeah, well, so what you're talking about is some naval war games that are being proposed off the coast of the entire Northeast. It's not just New England, but we're focused in on New England since that's where we are. And there's still a public comment period. June 19th, there's going to be an open meeting where people can come and voice their concerns about what's going on. So the Navy is asking to conduct these war exercises in the waters off the coast of New England. Live grenades, live sonar, missiles. You know, they claim they have to prepare for the possibility of war, and they have to do this training. Obviously, they've done some environmental studies and they've published it. You can check out a link on our website, EcoRI.org, in the story. You can click and see their environmental impact study. But, you know, obviously the ocean is home to a lot of marine life, and that will be impacted by, most notably, like the sonar and the whales. So, you know, it's a big concern, and we'll see what happens.
So the Navy looking for public input. I mean, is there any possibility that the public says, if you know we don't want this, that they could stop it, or is it just kind of checking off the box to say we listen to the public?
I think it could potentially be the latter, but you know, it's good to make your voice heard. There's this public meeting on the 19th, and we have until August 29th. The public has until August 29th to comment. You can do so on the website that the Navy has set up to comment on this particular
We'll put the link
proposal.
up to the EcoRI story, which then contains all the information you need if you want to get more information or comment about that. I'll tell you what, it seems like there's a lot more information than, again, the sort of urban war exercises that took place.
Yes, there's a lot of warning. I mean, if this does go through, it's not going to be until fall of 2018. So it's not like it's not coming this summer to a beach near you. It's in the future, but they're on a timeline, and it's important for the public to weigh in. So definitely check it out.
Were you surprised at the amount of feedback that you got when this piece went up this week? Got a ton of feedback.
Yeah, it's always surprising, the stories that really get to people, and I think because of what you mentioned, the military exercises on the west side, people's hackles were already up, and then they saw war games in the headline, and you know, unfortunately, some people don't read the story and they comment and they make assumptions.
Do they do that?
I don't know. Do you think people do that? Are they lazy?
No. I've never seen that happen before.
So it just touched a nerve, and it kind of went viral. And you know, the story itself was, you know, we're just basically reporting the facts.
What's happened? Yeah, it's just when you report the facts.
You can't make this stuff up.
No, you certainly can't. Definitely a good read. Urge you folks to check it out on EcoRI, and as I said, we'll put the link up as well. Another story that had come up kind of fairly recently and on EcoRI, the whale, we're talking about marine life and the whale that washed up, and concerns about what's currently taking place right off our shores. Are there any concrete answers as to what's happening or why this happened?
Well, I think that we noted in the story 48 humpback whales have died since January and beached themselves. So it's definitely that number is very high this year, and the most recent whale death that you're referring to was in Jamestown, and when this humpback whale washed up on shore, immediately wind conspiracy theorists jumped on board and said it's the wind turbines. And you know, the jury is still out. They're doing a necropsy. They've done a necropsy on the whale, and the results won't be known for another few weeks. But whales are susceptible to sonar. Typically, it's entanglements and boat strikes that tend to do these whales in. So, you know, Sonar also, their sonar is also affected by sounds underwater, naval exercises.
Things to consider
Yeah.
here being on the water, but there have been instances, not just in Rhode Island, you see instances of large groups of animals kind of washing up on shores. There's just so many factors that are playing in also worldwide that,
Yeah.
do you think we have a good grasp of what's going on, or just because so much is changing so rapidly with technology and the use of, as you said, sonar or electromagnetic waves that these animals haven't been exposed to before?
Yeah, definitely when you see that, it does feel like end times, when you see
Apocalyptic,
large numbers of whales washing up. But these are complex, intelligent animals, and we don't know a lot about them, but they communicate over long distances, and, a lot of things can impact their sonar. There's a lot of stuff happening in the ocean. There's a lot of new noise from a lot of different sources. There's microplastics. There's just a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff in the oceans, and we are the ocean state. We certainly keep tabs what's going on.
Try not to be too depressing,
but someone, as you can't turn a blind eye to what's going on, EcoRI always reports on these issues, gives more information, and as you said, doing a necropsy, is that the sort of an autopsy, but
on a
mammal. Okay, so they're going to find out what exactly happened with that whale, and we'll probably see what happens on EcoRI.
We'll definitely be following that, yeah.
Clearly as well. One of the things I wanted to ask you, Joanna, as you came in, because earlier on the 3 o'clock show, we had the Rhode Island Resource Recovery Corporation come in, talk about their, again, new concerted campaign to get folks, it's Let's Recycle Right. This is part of sort of even a broader, more national movement of making sure folks know when they see a recycle sign what they can recycle. Here we are in 2017. And having to remind folks again, do you think folks will sort of ever get it? Is it that complicated, or does it just need a few minutes of reading something and making the effort and deciding to do it? Is it really, how can we get people to recycle more?
Well, I'm going to say something controversial.
Ooh.
I think we should just get rid of recycling. I think it's just, we should focus on reuse. We should just, so many loads are rejected because recycling is contaminated. There's no money to be made in contaminated recycling anymore. And so I think people just recycling makes people feel good about using resources. I think maybe we need to shift our focus away from putting energy into recycling. Clearly, we haven't moved the needle on recycling in this country. I recently moved to Portsmouth, where they're talking about potentially closing the transfer station because the recycling rate is so low there that the town is losing money. So, I hate to say it. I think recycling is low-hanging fruit, and we should be able to do this simple thing. But maybe we shift our energy to sustainable packaging, reusing what we already have, and just throwing out less and living a more simple lifestyle.
So could there be, I don't say a hybrid, but just a more of an education about sort of the reuse side of things?
Perhaps. I don't know what to say about recycling. It's very discouraging because it just seems like something that you should get. You've got a plastic water bottle, you put it in the recycling bin, but so many people just don't.
Do you think people just don't have a sense of the environmental impact of trash in general? If, folks maybe know how to recycle, have it, they're just like, oh, I'm just going to toss it in the trash. What will it take for folks to know about the impact? And you talk about maybe focusing on the more reuse side of things. But does it sort of let folks, how do they not know that there's a major impact of, a proliferation of trash versus being more environmentally conscious?
Well, I think we throw something away. We don't have a concept of away. So maybe if every school had to visit the central landfill and they could see that big heap of trash there, it would have an impact that would resonate for the rest of their adult lives. Maybe, I think if there was a pay-as-you-throw program, I know that's highly controversial, but if people had to sort of see a financial impact from the trash that they produce, that would sort of shift them towards composting or recycling or just using less, that could be a possibility too. It's tricky. I mean, you want people to do the right thing, and Resource Recovery has just done a great job educating people. I saw the new brochure. It's very, very simple. I really hope that it has an impact, but
as you said, having
we'll
to remind folks again, and as you pointed to, maybe more reuse and more sustainable packaging. But again, we're letting folks know again one additional time how they can recycle, how that can impact the environment. And again, you've got a fundraiser coming up, don't you?
We have 2 fundraisers coming up.
Not just one, 2.
We're always raising money. We're trying to raise money. We have a pizza night at Flatbread, so we get a portion of the proceeds from every flatbread pizza consumed goes to EcoRI, and then in September we have our headline event, our Zero Trash Birthday Bash, where everything is imbibed, eaten,
The Zero
reused,
Trash
recycled.
Birthday Bash.
Yeah,
Tell us more about
right.
this.
So it's September 8th at FETS, and it's something that we do every year, and we strive to have an event with zero waste. So we work with Julian's. They compost all of their food scraps, so everything from the kitchen to what is used at the party is composted. Actually, last year maybe a couple years ago, we didn't even have to recycle because we just had all reusable, barware, and it's great, and it's tons of fun. We like to say tons of fun and zero waste, so you can be
tons
green
of fun,
and still
zero
have
waste.
fun.
No trash bash. We'll put more information as that as well. But again, the big pizza fundraiser at Flatbread. Can come and talk to other folks from EcoRI. They'll
All
be
of
there.
us.
Well, I did hear that we might be getting Tim Faulkner in here in the coming weeks.
In a couple of weeks, so get ready.
Mixing it up, be able to talk with him about the State House side of things. Never a dull moment up there these days.
Never a dull moment.
Well, I'm glad we got a chance to talk with you with some of the hot topic issues on EcoRI as we do every week. Joanna Detz mixes it up with Frank Carini. I appreciate having you in today. We'll
Thanks,
see you again
Kate.
back in the studio next week.
Take care. Have a great
Joanna
weekend.
Detz, you as well. Back out into the environment. Joanna Detz, Executive Director at EcoRI, talking about a couple of really big ticket articles that they had on their site this week. One including the Navy's plans to have Naval War Games on the entire East Coast, looking for public comment about that. And of course, EcoRI took a look at the environmental impact side of it, looked at what the Navy saw about that, provide some more information. So it's a good read. I encourage you to check it out. Also, the recent whale beaching and just looking at whales sort of in general and sort of factors playing into that as well. And talked a little bit about recycling. Lots going on here at the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center.